If your first thought after seeing a man being playful and nice to his own daughter or a kid are that the man must be creep, you are a horrible person and a misandrist. Read the edit. I am not targeting the woman specifically. I am saying that this line of thought should be considered as misandry and not just I was raised by the society to have this bias kind of thing. Holy crap, so much splaining to a person expressing an issue that affects men. No wonder men don't feel like expressing themselves. Saw a post on Reddit in which a woman became suspicious when she saw a man playing with his daughter at a park. She immediately thought of the man as a creep and a predator. And she then blamed the society for her thinking. Yeah, like that was the first time she saw a father and daughter together to realize sexist views. This is like saying people of certain color or religion are criminals because all media has shown me about them is crime. This thinking is obviously considered, and is, very racist. No one in their right mind ever thinks about creepy stuff as a first thought when they see a man playing with his own daughter unless they have been living in a hive mind or constantly staying in groups where men are always called predators, misogynists and bad human beings. Also, no one pointed out the misandry in such thinking and she never mentioned how she will improve upon her misandrist thinking and why it was bad. Instead of actually saying that thinking like this is bad and sexist, she only says it's what society does to you. This helps to a subtle line of thought among people that it's okay to think like this and it's normal because society made you do this. Misandry needs to be pointed out more. This was a great example of how hive minds and groupthink can lead to biases in humans and how social media promotes them. Edit. Yes, I have read the post that I have used as an example. And I have corrected one sentence which I have clearly misinterpreted and I was wrong. I know in the post she mentions her thoughts were biased, even after knowing the girl was the man's daughter BTW. That is the whole point of my post, to point out that this immediate thinking that men being near kids, even their own, as creepy is not just a societal bias, it's misandrist. And blaming society for this thought process even after being a grown-up and having your own kids is horrible and affects men, clearly seen from the experiences shared in this post. My post is not meant to target the person, it's targeted at the thought. I want people to start taking this negative stereotype created by hive minds about men as misandrist and wrong. The thought, when applied to all men, is sexist and propagating the idea makes you horrible. Someone asked before why I allowed my husband to change my daughter's diaper. I've never seen him more offended by a comment in his life. As a young father, I am absolutely scared of this. Once at my local Kroger grocery store, my toddler was throwing a typical tantrum, nothing I haven't had happen with my wife around or that I haven't seen with other kids. I don't remember what he wanted, but I said no and he freaked out. He wasn't yelling anything weird like let me down or anything. He was just having a crying tantrum. Anyway, 2 ladies started following me and they flagged down staff and I had to literally show proof that I was the father of my child. At least I have social media on my phone with photos and I keep the hospital wristband from when he was born in my wallet. I didn't get an apology or anything, just an explanation that I was suspicious. Now that I have a newborn daughter, I am even more scared. It honestly reminds me of a news article that I read of a father who was carrying his newborn out of a Target, and a woman exclaimed he was kidnapping her child, so a bystander tackled him and the woman almost made off with his child. One morning I was walking to work. Well dressed, suitcase, etc. A kid, 5 years old, was playing in their front yard with a ball, while their mother was sitting on the front porch reading a book watching the kid. As children are wont to do, she threw the ball a bit too hard and it went speeding towards the road. I quickened my pace such that I could stop it before it got there. I knelt down, picked it up, and held it out for the little girl, who happily started coming towards me to retrieve her ball. At that moment the mother shot from her seat, sprinted towards her daughter, and scooped her up. She gave me the dirtiest scowl ever, before whispering something to her kid, and turning to go inside. And the worst part of the whole experience, was the look of fear, confusion, and anxiety the kid gave me over her mom's shoulder as she was carried away. Knowing that I caused those feelings in her, even though my motives were good. It just ruined my day completely. I work in a school, and the stereotype that men interacting with kids in a caring way must mean they have ulterior motives is really damaging to my male colleagues. So much of the care, attention, and way I interact with the kids on a daily basis would be read so differently if I was a guy, and I feel sorry for my colleagues trying to navigate being a friendly, positive role model without being read as a creep. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for staff being rude if they make students or colleagues uncomfortable, but we need to normalize men being caring and nurturing in society so that the exact same actions I take aren't read as creepy if a male colleague did it. I think it's weird how suspicious some people are of men around kids, because I guess my first assumption is always that one of these must be theirs. Why else would they be here? But for someone to know that he's with his child and still think he's a creep? My first thought then is that either they suffered abuse at the hands of their father, or they have inappropriate feelings about children themselves. Ugh. Kind of like when I, 31F, go out to eat with my father, 56, sometimes people give us looks like he's dating me, and it's really gross for people to assume that. I mean, damn, I even look like the guy. As a single dad with 2 daughters who don't share my complexion, I notice I get a lot of looks and sideways glances. And sadly, I can't imagine ever having my daughter's friends over to play or have a sleepover. It seems like a risky things to do in today's society, and that makes me sad, because I want to be involved with my children and to know their friends. Life as a single dad in America, not to mention during a pandemic, is so strange. I feel like an outcast more often than I should be made to. Thanks for reading. Your first thought is not who you are, it's what you're conditioned to think. Your second thought matters. So if your first thought is that guy is a creep and your second thought lines up with that, then you're a terrible person. If your first thought is that guy is a creep and your second thought is wait, that's a stupid assumption, then you're fine. I won't forget that one time I just got off a 12-hour. I had just taken my uniform off at the base gym. I was heading home and stopping for gas. It was maybe 7:30 p.m., sky has still 30 minutes of light in it. Wearing older basketball shorts and a shirt, all clean mind you. And still freshly shaven from that day's roll call, open the door for a woman behind me. The woman grabs her daughter and pulls her close to hip and switches positions as she walks through my open door, clearly, so that she is on my side, not the daughter. I'm standing there like, huh, what? Okay. Was all that for me? Then the clerk recognizes his regular at the door. Hey Cap, you have to go to, name a base, this time of night. For the rest of the time the woman then keeps trying to make eye contact with me and smile at me. Different levels of crazy out there, folks. I agree. It needs to stop now. People will go apeshit if I said the same about a minority. Remember that the same person also said that she knew there was nothing wrong with the man, and she felt bad for feeling like that, and was angry there was a stigma. I constantly have to keep in mind the fact that people think that way. I'm a large bearded guy in his mid-30s. But I'm basically a kid at heart, and genuinely enjoy playing around with kids over making small talk with an adult. I've actually had to be bummed out with the fact that the neighbor kids around age 6 and 8 asked me if I would come out and play with them, and I had to tell them I don't think I should, only for the fact that I know the parents would be like, what the fuck is that portly, bearded man doing playing Nerf wars with our kids? Luckily I have a daughter and nieces and nephews, so my siblings just know I'm a screwball that has the mentality of a 9-year-old. By the way, a good knock-knock joke for kids. Knock knock. Who's there? Europe. Europe who? No, Europoo. Kids love it, and most have never heard it.